Last time, a quiet night turned into something warmer. What began with mud, towels, and laughter ended with two men finding comfort in the same silence. A home that didn't feel borrowed anymore. Daniel let someone see him without his guard. Evan learned how care can sound like belonging. And somewhere between the scent of soap and the glow of the kitchen light, something changed. Morning finds them closer than before. Not because of what happened, but because of what it might mean. A Sunday without work. Two dogs restless for the park. One invitation waiting to be said out loud. This is Autumn Tales. Chapter 5. A Tale for Two. It was the kind of morning that doesn't ask to begin. A slow unfolding of warmth and quiet breath beside you. For Evan, it's been a while since the space next to him wasn't cold, since the sound of another heartbeat felt steady enough to keep listening to. From the hallway, the soft click of paws. Sonny pushes the door open with his nose, tail swaying slowly, sniffing the unfamiliar air. Cucumber pads in, after him smaller, curious, pausing at the edge of the bed like he stumbled on a secret worth guarding. Sonny sniffs the wall, then Daniel's shoe, satisfied. He exhales through his nose and sits. Cucumber looks from one man to the other, eyes wide, ears flicking, tail still, before letting out a small, approving sound. Evan steers. The world feels softer than it should. The air smells faintly of detergent and rain, the kind that lingers after a long night. His hand brushes the sheet, heat, skin, the steady weight of someone real. He doesn't move for a few breaths, just lets the feeling sink in. Daniel shifts beside him, half asleep, instinctive. His hand finds Evan's under the blanket. Not searching, just finding. Evan's breath catches, quiet but noticeable. He glances down, sees their hands touching. His own smaller, against Daniel's, and something steadies in him. No questions, no hesitation, just the realization that closeness can feel like peace. Evan slips carefully from the bed. The floorboards creak, cool under his feet. He moves to the small drying rack near the heater, folding the last of the laundry from last night. The air smells of soap and steam. Daniel's shirt clean, soft gray. He folds with both hands, smoothing the fabric once before setting it neatly on the chair by the bed. Evan turns back, notices Daniel watching, and offers a small smile. He clears his throat, voice soft. You want coffee? I can also make some scrambles, and we can walk the dogs after. Daniel pushes himself upright, the sheet falling to his waist. A quiet smile crosses his face, the kind that mixes warmth with something unspoken. Daniel, after careful thoughts. Let's do takeaway. There's a bagel shop near the park. Good coffee too. Evan hesitates for a second, then nods, almost relieved. Daniel sits up, runs a hand through his hair. He reaches for the clean shirt, studies it a moment, then glances toward Evan. There's gratitude in the silence. For the first time in a while, he feels what it's like to be looked after. For Daniel, it's not the night that stays. It's the small kindness after. Without a word, he walks into the bathroom. The faint sound of running water, toothbrush on porcelain, the splash of a face being washed. Evan moves through the kitchen, bowls clinking, Cucumber's tail beats against the floor as he sets their food down. Sunni's paws tap impatiently on tile, waiting for the cue. The bathroom door opens. Steam drifts out. Daniel steps back into the room, shirt crisp, face still damp from the sink. He looks more awake, quietly surprised at himself. He picks up his jacket from the chair, hesitates, then looks at Evan. The air between them hums with something unspoken. Daniel quietly, thanks for all this. Evan looks up, almost embarrassed by the sincerity. He opens his mouth to say something, but before he can, Daniel steps forward and pulls him into a hug. Some thanks don't need words. Just the kind of hold that says, I feel it too. They pull apart as Cucumber barks once, tail wagging frantically. Sonny gives a low whine, the signal. Evan laughs. They're going to leave without us. Daniel grinning. Then let's not keep them waiting. And just like that, Sunday begins with clean clothes, warm coffee waiting somewhere, and for footsteps headed out the door. The morning drifts open, the kind where everything feels lighter. Pavement still damped from the night rain, dogs tugging at their leads. Evan follows Daniel down a quiet side street. The city feels different today. Less foreign, more alive. He notices details he hadn't before. A bakery window fogged with heat. A cafe sign written in chalk. The way the autumn light turns even the concrete warm. Sunny leads confidently, tail high, a local in his own neighborhood. Cucumber trots to keep up, ears flapping, stopping every few meters to sniff at something fascinating. Evan tries to keep pace, but it's hard not to look around. The city feels slower when you walk beside someone who knows where he's going. They stop outside a small corner shop, bagel and bean. The windows are steamed, the air thick with coffee and toasted bread. Daniel holds the door for him, nodding toward the counter. They've got cinnamon raisin, if you're into that. And real cream cheese. Not the watery stuff. Evan laughs, brushing rain from his sleeve. Daniel orders easily. 2 coffees, 1 black, 1 with milk. 2 bagels, both warm, both wrapped neatly in paper. Evan's already watching him, not staring, just quietly studying how he fits here. How natural he looks, ordering in check and smiling at the staff. They turn a corner onto a narrow street, lined with vines and faded shop signs. Daniel gestures ahead with his cup. That's my place. Across the street, a small storefront sits between a florist and a laundromat. A sign over the window reads Fixed Phones and PCs. Above it, a narrow balcony with an iron railing and a potted fern. Evan glances up, taking it in the tiny life. Daniel's built in this corner of Prague. Something about it makes him smile. There's something about seeing someone in their world, the easy rhythm, the small gestures, that makes you realize how much of them you've yet to know. They step back outside, cups in hand, the dogs instantly alert. Sunny barks once finally. Cucumber spins in a small circle of excitement, nearly tangling the leash. They walk toward the park, gravel crunching, pigeons scattering. By the time they reach the open field, the sun has broken through clouds, scattering gold across wet leaves. Daniel unclips Sunny's leash. Evan follows with Cucumber. The dogs take off, 1 golden blur, 1 small flash of tricolor fur, racing across the grass. Freedom looks different on everyone. For the dogs, it's a sprint. For them, it's something quieter. The ease of walking side by side, without needing to fill the space. They find a bench near the pond. Coffee's still warm. Evan wipes a crumb from his lip, smiling faintly. Daniel sips his coffee, eyes on the dogs, chasing through puddles. And then he broke the silence. It took a while. After everything with my ex, I didn't think routine was possible again. Evan glances over, softly, cautious. Daniel nods once, gaze steady. Feels like another life. We still talk, mostly about our daughter. She's 9, smart, opinionated, thinks she's training me. Evan laughs quietly. Sounds like someone I'd like to meet. She's the best thing I ever did right. But I'm still learning how to be good at this, at letting people close again. Evan looks at him, a small smile that doesn't quite hide the truth. This time Evan opened up. I think I forgot how to make space for it. I hadn't been in a relationship for a while now. Daniel exhales. A quiet sound. Half breath, half relief. Evan grinning. Was that a thank God or a poor you? Daniel smirking. Maybe both. They both laugh. Soft. Familiar. The kind that folds easily into silence again. It isn't a confession. Just the kind of honesty that stays in the air long after it's said. Cucumber barrels toward them. Tail wild. Sunny close behind. Evan bends to catch him, Big Al still in hand. Guess they're making the most of the freedom. Their eyes meet for a beat longer than comfort allows. Daniel looks away first, takes another sip of coffee. Voice lighter now. Dinner next week. My place. Real food, not bagels. Evan turns the paper cup in his hands, smiling. Dinner sounds good. And with that, 2 coffees cool in the breeze, 2 dogs circle back for more chaos. And something unnamed settles quietly between them. The week drifts quietly. Not with distance, with rhythm. A message here, a pause there. A phone lighting up in the middle of an ordinary day. At the shop, Daniel works with steady hands until a text sound stops in mid-motion. Sometimes it's a customer. Sometimes it's Evan. He checks every one. Sunny watches from the rug, tail brushing in lazy rhythm. He doesn't need to know what the words say. He can hear it in Daniel's breathing. Across town, Evan's week fills with lessons and laughter. In the middle of class, his phone buzzes once. He glances down, reads quickly, and can't help smiling. One of the students notices and teases. You've been smiling at your phone a lot. Sir? You in love? The room bursts into laughter. Evan shakes his head, pretending to think. By Friday, the week exhales. Cucumber has been home alone all day, small, restless, tail ready to explode. When Evan picks up the leash, joy bursts out of him like a spark. At the park, the air smells of wet leaves and coffee still on Daniel's hands. Sunny bounds ahead, golden blur against silver light. Cucumber charges after, yelping with pure delight, rolling in grass, demanding the world notice he's back. Evan laughs, trying to keep up. Daniel watches with quiet amusement. He's been waiting for this. They stand side by side. Two men in the middle of the field, sharing the weight of a leash and the lightness of everything else. Daniel glances over, voice low. You could leave him at my shop during the day. Sonny would keep him company, and I wouldn't mind either. Cucumber's ears flick up, as if he understands. He looks between them, tail wagging faster. He heard that. You just made a friend for life. Daniel smiles, small, honest. The space between them softens. The sky has gone pale. The park has emptied. No one left now, just wind, streetlights, two dogs circling back, and two people who stop pretending this is casual. Daniel looks at him once, steps closer, and before either of them thinks, the kiss happens. Warm breath, cold air, the kind that feels inevitable. Cucumber twirls. Sonny barks twice the approval of witnesses, and under the faint glow of the park lights, they finally let the weekend end the way it's been building, in quiet laughter and the promise of tomorrow. The streets glisten with rain, and the air smells faintly of yeast and iron. Evan leaves work later than usual, his shoulders relaxed, a warmth in his chest he can't quite name. On the way to Daniel's shop, he stops by the bakery Daniel once pointed out, picking up a small cake, still warm through the folds. It feels like a gesture, small but full, a quiet way of saying he was thought of. The road to Versaves feels familiar now. Window lights ripple across puddles, and somewhere ahead, a bell chime rings from a tram passing the corner. He imagines a scene before it happens. Cucumber waiting by the counter, tail already thudding. Daniel's soft smile when he sees him. Maybe they'll have tea before their walk. Maybe tonight will be simple. But when the shop door opens, the air inside feels heavier. The smell of solder and rain mixes with something else, voices lowered, steady, tired. A woman stands by the counter, umbrella folded at her feet. Her tone isn't sharp, just sad, like a conversation that has already happened too many times. Evan recognizes her before he even means to. The quiet authority of someone who used to belong here. She reminds Daniel about the Christmas plans. Saturday, the tree they were meant to choose with their daughter. Her voice is measured, not bitter, but it lands with a kind of weight that fills the small room. Daniel's reply is soft, almost apologetic. He'll make it right. He'll still find the gift. The woman exhales, a sound between defeat and acceptance. Then she says to forget the tree, just not the gift, and leaves. The bell above the door chimes once, and the rain swallows her footsteps. Evan stands near the entrance, cake still in his hands. Paper has dampened slightly from the drizzle, his fingers pressing faint marks into it. Behind the counter, Daniel exhales slowly, shoulders loosening as the silence returns. For a moment, they only look at each other. Two different kinds of tired, meeting in the same space. From the back room comes a sudden sound. Cucumber's bark, followed by the tap of small paws on the floor. He appears with a leash tangled around him, Sonny trotting close behind. The dogs break the heaviness just by being there. Daniel kneels to untangle them, the smallest smile tugging at his mouth. He says something quiet that Evan can't quite hear, but it's enough to ease the moment. Evan sets the cake on the counter. He almost says they could reschedule dinner, but the thought dissolves when Daniel looks up. There's still warmth in his expression, the kind of look that says the night isn't ruined, just rearranged. When they step outside, the drizzle has softened into a fine mist. The streetlights glow against the wet pavement, and the dogs move ahead in easy rhythm. For a while they walk in silence, the kind that feels shared rather than empty. Then Daniel reaches out, fingers brushing once against Evan's before holding firm. Their hands stay together. To leashes, to dogs, to quiet hearts keeping pace under the rain. Saturday unfolds with unspoken kindness. Evan suggests Daniel spend the day with his daughter, says he'll watch Sonny take both dogs to the park, and that dinner can wait until the evening. The offer makes Daniel pause, then smile in that quiet, grateful way he does when words aren't enough. By noon, the small family is out among rows of pine trees. The air smells of resin and snow. His daughter circles the lot, inspecting each branch as though she's choosing a friend. When she points to one, proud and certain, Daniel nods and laughs. But instead of one, he pays for two. She watches him with a sly grin, tugging at his sleeve. "You're getting two?" she asks. "You're going to make one at your place too?" Daniel nods, trying not to look too obvious. She squints, noticing the groceries already piled high in the cart. Extra fruit, bread, and more than one bottle of wine. "That's a lot for one person." She grins, tucking her hands into her pockets. "I'll keep your secret. But I want to meet the person someday," he promises. Soon. By early evening, the first tree glows softly at his daughter's house, a small constellation of colored lights in the window. Daniel lingers a moment longer than planned before heading home. The second tree, tied to the roof of his car. When he carries it upstairs, his apartment smells faintly of rain and chestnuts. He sets the tree near the window, unties the net, and watches the branches open slowly, like something remembering how to breathe. The kitchen is alive with quiet motion. Daniel worms food from the market, stirs a sauce he doesn't need, arranges plates with the care of someone who still wants to make things right. He glances at the clock, a few minutes before 8. Evan is walking through the park. The air is cold enough to sting, his breath visible beside the dog's eager panting. Cucumber bounds ahead, Sunny trailing close. He checks his phone for the time. The smell of food and pine fills the air. The tree stands tall, branches still bare, but already alive in the room's light. Dinner happens quickly. Platters shared, stories overlapping, laughter filling spaces where words used to hesitate. Neither of them lingers over the food. What they really want is the tree. They start untangling lights, arguing softly over which strand works best, both pretending to know what they're doing. One ornament rolls across the floor. Both dogs chase it, sniff, then lose interest and return to their corners. The laughter that follows is quiet but full, the kind that belongs to people who have stopped pretending to be careful. When the last light holds steady, the tree glows golden against the window. Daniel sits on the rug, Sunny curled in his lap. Evan settles beside him with Cucumber tucked against his arm. For a long time, they just sit there. The hum of the heater, the rhythm of two dogs breathing, the kind of silence that feels earned. Then Daniel notices it first. Snow falling outside, slow and soundless. And they both turn to the window. The reflection of the tree shimmers faintly against the glass, and in that glow, something shifts. Evan looks back at him, the quiet of the moment wrapping around them like warmth itself. The kiss begins gently, not rushed, not asked for. It deepens, steady and certain, the kind of closeness that feels like trust more than hunger. Daniel pulls him closer. Evan doesn't move away. Daniel's words come softly, carried between breaths. "Will you be my boyfriend?" Evan's answer is quiet, not in words, but in another kiss, longer, slower, certain. Outside, Prague turns white. Inside, the dogs sleep heavy by the tree, the lights casting soft halos across their fur, and somewhere between the sound of falling snow and shared breath, two hearts begin again. Some stories don't begin with fireworks. They begin with small things. A leash unhooked, a late dinner, a hand that doesn't pull away. In the heart of winter, in a city of quiet streets and patient light, two people found a warmth that didn't ask for proof. For Evan, it was the sound of footsteps returning, the space beside him no longer empty. For Daniel, it was the simple truth of being cared for, without conditions, without fear. The world had finally settled into peace. This is what love looks like when it learns to stay. Not loud, not sudden, but steady. This was Autumn Tales. And as the city turns to winter, new stories for them are just beginning to unfold. Thank you for listening to Autumn Tales. But more stories are already waiting to begin, with new voices, new stories, and more moments worth holding on to. Subscribe, like, and follow Gay Audiobooks to know when the next story drops. I hope you have a peaceful holiday, full of warmth, kindness, and the people and pets that make home feel real. We'll see you in the new year.